As we said earlier, this budget has more hopes pinned to the side of it, and many hoping it is going to be balanced in the right areas to make sure we are not sliding into 3 or 4 times the amount of government debt we had this time last year. It's going to take generations to pay off. I honestly don't envy Finance Minister Grant Robertson at the moment at all having to make those calls. And of course, as I mentioned, this Thursday will be a Serious Country budget special pouring through the pages with our panellists on what it means for rural. Don't miss it, 7 o'clock Thursday right here. So first out the gate was on the rural wish list was Federated Farmers Vice President and proud Manawatu dairy farmer Andrew Hoggard, who's not only stayed up a little bit late because he's milking in the morning, but, Joel, he has had a shave for me. Bless you. Yeah. You're looking sharp, sir.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too scruffy on TV or computer screen, whatever we are.
We are on TV. If you can watch it on TV, you're on TV. No, you're looking great. Thank you so much. I understand it's a very busy time for you amidst all of this COVID stuff going on as well. Oh.
No worries.
Now, my apologies. My phone's actually just called right in the middle of that, which has buggered me up. Let's talk about this rural wish list. There's quite a number of things on there, but how do we balance the money we need with sensible fiscal policy?
Well, I think the key thing is we've got to look at investing in projects and policies that basically take New Zealand forward. And so you can make the standard sort of investment decisions like you would on farm. You know, if I'm going to invest some money on farm, I'm looking for something that's going to move the farm forward, be it better sustainability, better productivity, or better lifestyle for myself. So those are the sort of things we need the government to be thinking about and making sure that for every dollar they invest, it's actually pushing the country ahead and making it a better place to live. We're going to be left with a pretty big hole from the tourism sector that we need to fill. So that's going to be, we're going to need some productivity to actually fill that hole. From that principle, we've got a few suggestions there.
I think the big thing is what's going to make the short-term economic impact, because a lot of rural wish lists in the past are quite long-term plans. I mean, obviously, water storage, there's some, that takes a long time to actually hit the ground and the pocket back into the government in terms of trade.
Yeah, and I think, some of the things like pushing forward the rural broadband initiative too, that's sort of behind schedule at the moment. That's planned work that's it's all planned, it's all mapped out. Getting that sort of, fast forward button on that, getting that happening a lot quicker and faster, that provides not only jobs building those towers, but it also will create better productivity, better connectivity out in the rural regions and help, various businesses grow. But if you're looking for sort of short-term jobs, and I think a lot of the sort of environmental challenges we've got could provide some of those. So the likes of, increasing plantings, wetland projects, various sort of things like that just really need lots of bodies with lots of shovels to sort of make stuff happen. We heard the announcement on the weekend around the sort of biosecurity stuff with the wilding pines. So things like that, I think, will be, good projects that sort of help with not only the short-term job creation, but also better sustainability going forward. And that can, if we can do some of this stuff that actually, sort of takes the pressure off the environment, then we can maintain that productivity rather than the regulations, which will basically force the productivity down. And then hopefully in time we can do some of these works. So yeah, going the other way and actually doing the on-ground stuff first, we think's a good way to go.
Let's just jump back to the announcement there for those who may have missed it about Federated Farmers happy with the win around conservation interest being aligned to basically tackle something that has, in my mind, been forgotten and pushed to the side for far too long, which is a wilding pine explosion through places, especially like the Mackenzie country.
Yeah, it's more Chris Allen's area of expertise than mine, but I know, with these trees sort of just running rampant on a lot of the high country, it's sort of chewing up productive land, making the farms less productive. It's costing the farmers a lot to try and control it. So, it is a big issue, and it sort of gets forgotten about, at the same time, everyone's talking about planting more trees. Here we are talking about chopping down some trees. But it's important to differentiate that these trees aren't the right tree in the right place. They're the wrong tree in the wrong place. And so it's important to make sure we get that balance right.
Ross Ivy has a thing or two at Glen Tanner to say about how to manage wilding pines down there, so give old Ross a ring. Now, of course, you were talking about rural broadband prior to just the other day, $15 million announced for rural broadband connectivity improvement from the government. How many things do you believe they have been sitting back waiting to be put in the budget or pre-announced?
Well, I think you've got the announcement around Rural Broadband Initiative 2, which has been going on for quite a while. And it's the project's there. They've just, I guess, fallen behind. There's consenting issues and the like, so probably that RMA reforms might actually help speed it up. To me, I think that works there, the plan's there. That's going to fill in some of the gaps. It's not going to fill in all the gaps. And I think once we've completed that Rural Broadband 2, then it's using the wireless internet service providers probably to really push out into those remote parts of the country, because they're the sort of smaller regional-based, not number 8 wide. They do a quality job, but they're more flexible and more innovative, and so they'll be able to come up with solutions, whereas the likes of Chorus and Vodafone and they're sort of fixated on our tower's this size and that's it. Whereas these guys can be a bit more receptive to the local situation. So I think there needs to be some thought given once RBI 2 is complete as to how do we help these guys really connect in and fill the dots. Are there new technologies, and are there roadblocks in the way around rules and regulations that's just slowing everything down? Because it is important to get decent connectivity out into the countryside. It's where a lot of our money's been made. I've had so many phone calls from farmers over this lockdown period of struggling to be able to do their basic cloud computing, filling in GST returns, and then the kids are struggling to be able to connect with the school remotely to be able to do their homework and carry on with their education. So it's vitally important.
Absolutely, especially for the growth of Sarah's Country broadcast live across the internet throughout the week too. Andrew, you've been doing me a hell of a favour, to be fair. Just lastly, I want to see, how does Federated Farmers balance some practical sense around how hard these heavy-handed environmental regulations are on the table without being perceived as wanting to go back to the way we were in terms of environmental management of our farms?
Yeah, I think, our submission on the essential fresh water, we had issues with a number of parts of it. We didn't have issue with the goal of, improving water quality. And so that's the sort of stuff we're talking about here is let's just move away from the one-size-fits-all policy that might, blanket across the country, but instead focus at the catchment level, because every catchment's different. In my catchment, it's not nitrogen that's the issue, it's sediment and phosphorus. And what we've had since 2004 has been a programmed sort of targeted work with our regional council called the SLUI Project, Sustainable Land Use Initiative, which is really focused on poplar planting on the hillsides, identifying those high-risk sort of erosion areas. And, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it's resulted in a massive reduction in the amount of sediment that's heading into the waterways. So, that's sort of a model program where it hasn't been about regulation. It's been about council working with farmers at that catchment level and, with the farm plans and help with the, poplar planting, etc., and really driving success. And so that's sort of the thing we want to see happen around the country.
Thank you for your time tonight. It's Andrew Hoggard, Vice President of Federated Farmers, of course talking about the wish list for rural New Zealand going into this Thursday's budget.
This is Sarah's Country.